One of the problems that we have is that oftentimes vulnerabilities don't show up right away in vulnerability scans. We've showed you this chart before, but this one comes from Microsoft. This is just a rundown on what they see as, on average, the time it takes from a vulnerability to be publicly released or for a patch to be released for one, how long it until it's being exploited actively in the wild, and then how long until it's available in an automated scanning tool. And this is looking at about 120 days worth of time on average before a automated scanning tool in a lot of cases can tell you whether or not you have a vulnerability in your network. And Tom, I know you were wanting to jump in on this one. We were talking about when people are searching for like 0 days or something like that.
Yeah.
How effective is it to look for a 0 day with a vulnerability scanner?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, if it's showing up in your vulnerability scanner, you're well past the point of which you need to be concerned about patching. So it's kind of like that stopgap, knowing your network, knowing what you're running, keeping on top of knowing what patches are coming out, but as well as using that vulnerability scanner, because your vulnerability scanner is always going to be lagging compared to the software that you're running with potential vulnerabilities in it. So doing your automated patch management, but then as well as doing your vulnerability scanning, so that if it shows up there, you've got an action item you need to take care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if it's showing up on your scan, it's a high priority item. You need to jump on that one really quickly. We actually have a really good example of this from the LMG lab, and this relates back to a webinar that we did a little bit. And Tom, I promised I'd let you talk about this. So you want to talk about the F5 vulnerability and kind of where we ended up with that one?
Yeah, so F5 came out with a vulnerability back in October that we were able to exploit, and then we scanned it back in October with the up-to-date vulnerability scanner. And then we did it again, and still to this day, it's not being detected appropriately or consistently with all vulnerability scanners for detecting it as a critical vulnerability on your network. So like I said, these scanners, they're not perfect, they're really good, and you should use them, because when it does pick out your risks, those are real, typically real. There's and more, there's false positive and things. That's why you don't just take it as gospel truth. You use this in conjunction with other means and mechanisms to determine the risks on your network.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you on that one, Tom. Yeah, vulnerability scanning is a tool to keep in your arsenal. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution to any and all cyber problems that you have. There are levels that you need to go into to make sure that you are effectively protecting your network. Vulnerability scanning just happens to be a very, very impactful one of those tools. Now, this is there's a distinction that we want to point out here, and again, Tom, I'll let you take this one because this is your absolute area of expertise. But we see kind of a crossover between, in terminology in the industry anyway, between vulnerability scanning and penetration testing. So Tom, do you want to run through what the difference is between those two?
Yeah, so vulnerability scanning is really looking at services and software in your organization and looking at compared to patches and so forth. Penetration testing, however, vulnerability scanning is a start, right? So you start looking for vulnerabilities, and then doing actual penetration testing is looking at how an attacker or you working as a penetration tester, as I do, to leverage those vulnerabilities in order to circumvent controls and breach an organization, and actually chain things together. I will take several low or medium vulnerabilities and turn it into a critical finding, because I was able to do several things along the way in order to breach a network. So automated scans won't find anything, if it won't find everything. That's why we also recommend doing penetration testing. And actually, I think right now a lot of organizations need to be doing penetration testing. So if you haven't scheduled a recent penetration test, you can contact LMG and we can help you out there.
Thank you so much, everyone. Again, my name is Matt Duran, Director of Training and Research for LMG Security. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out at any time. We would love to hear from you. You can reach me at info@lmgsecurity.com, find me on LinkedIn, or follow us on Twitter. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.